So what motivates us to eat? Okay. So learning is the process of acquiring new knowledge, new skills, movements, and preferences, or reinforcing those that already exist. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about this section is all about understanding what the learned behaviors are and what drives us to eat. Someone says, I love how you make the science so easy to understand. That is very kind of you. I don't feel like I do that very well sometimes, but thank you. I really, really try hard at it. So as it turns out, learning, particularly the efforts or the effects of learning on our motivation to seek out certain types of food, is one of the primary reasons why we overeat, against better judgment or the strength of your willpower. So what I'm trying to say here is, it doesn't matter how strong your willpower is. It doesn't matter how many, how much you want your goals or how much you want the results. There are certain things, there are certain behaviors and certain brain chemicals that make it a real challenge to stick to your willpower when your environment is not supporting you, okay? And here's why. So we're going to talk a little bit about learning, right? And how and learning not in the sense of like textbook learning. We're talking about how our brain decides whether something is a good thing to do or whether it is it's not such a good thing to do, okay? So now, learning and the motivation to do so comes from having a goal. And at the core, these goals are to eat, to drink, to have sex, to be safe and comfortable, and to be liked. They are the core goals or motivational goals where our brain is receptive to learning information, right? And they're the fundamental drivers of motivation and learning. And because food is so key to our survival and reproduction, it's usually a very, very powerful teacher and motivator, right? So it's a bit like this is like not the best thing, but it's a good example, right? So when you have kids who are like, and I have a 3-year-old, so I have to really hold back the urge to say, finish your dinner so you can have something sweet, right? Because obviously that sets up some bad behavioral strategies, but that's why you're motivated to have something to eat. So I better finish my dinner, right? So another example, let me give you an example of feeling hungry. You know that there's a pizza place down the street and you've heard that it's really good. Now, if you live in any other state other than Victoria, where I currently am, you can go and eat that pizza at the restaurant. For now, Victorians, you'll just have to deal with takeaway until, restrictions tighten up, right? So you make plans to get there, you order your food and you eat it. Now, let's say that pizza was really good, like unexpectedly good. You've achieved your goal of satisfying your hunger really well. And the next time that you're hungry, you'll be more likely to crave the food from that particular restaurant. You'll come to enjoy the thought, the appearance, the smell of the place. Your behavior of going to this restaurant will be positively reinforced. So, and the reverse, think about the reverse can happen with a bad food experience, such as food poisoning, right? That behavior will be negatively reinforced to minimize the chances of that painfully perceived experience from happening again, right? So, like if you got food poisoning from a dodgy Indian restaurant, you might be put off that restaurant or Indian food entirely, right? And one chemical in the brain that's believed to be responsible for the process of learning and reinforcement is dopamine. So some of you guys might have heard of dopamine before. It's often referred to as the pleasure chemical, but let's quickly slay that myth. You can actually have pleasure in the absence of dopamine, but without getting into like brain science, we know that dopamine is now thought to be the learning chemical, and it reinforces the learned behavior of pleasurable experiences. So something good, do that again, you get a rise of dopamine, your brain goes, that was a good thing, let's do that again, okay?